Hi. So, today's video is pretty much a recommendation video that you guys wanted with like feet stretches, also the fact of toe spreaders. They're really called toe spacers, like the white things that you've seen in my previous videos that kind of spread out your toes. They're technically called toe spacers. I call them toe spreaders, so you can call them whatever you want as long as we know what we're talking about here. We're gonna go over the effects of really tight shoes. Now that could be anything from like a flat shoe to like a high heel to an elevated shoe. If it's tight on the front of your feet, if you are experiencing very like pain in the feet, or you feel like you're like very imbalanced, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why tight shoes are really not beneficial. And these 3 things are definitely affecting the nerve. You're pretty much overloading the nerve of that heel because your feet are supposed to be like this with a little bit of an arch on the side, but it's going like this. And like, think about walking like this every single day or however long you're walking for. That's not really good for the feet because the feet are supposed to stay grounded. So anything that has like a heel elevation, that's not really good for your feet in general. Now, I understand that women here have high heels. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear high heels. I'm just saying that after you're done wearing high heels for the day, whether it was for work purposes or you want to go out to dinner, whatever you use it for, you would definitely want to recommend doing, well, I recommend you doing like any type of feet stretches or toe stretches, really working out the heel, working out the ankles, because you want to get the balance back in your feet, but also relieve the nerve tension. You also could be squeezing the nerve, because the fact of having tight shoes, you're squeezing it, and that's really going to cause nerve damage in the long run. As well as anything like toe springs in the shoes that really stretches the nerve out. So for example, you know, like when people kind of go for shoes, some people, not everyone, some people go for shoes that are more comfortable because they're very cushiony and they're filled with a whole bunch of crap on the bottom, and people think that's good for your feet because it's easier for you to walk. Well, it's really damaging your foot because it's almost like putting your foot on crutches. You're not really letting the foot touch the ground and walk properly. You're letting the foot be elevated constantly, whether it's from the toe point or from the heel point. It's never really having correct form when it's walking. I personally have stopped and thrown out shoes that are very elevated. Obviously, I'm not gonna throw out my heels because I do wear them for work or whatever going out purposes. The one stereotype that I have pretty much heard is that if you don't have like an arch in your shoe, you create a flat foot in general, which is not true. Your feet should naturally have arches. If they don't, it's really genetics, and you don't need to like have shoes that go like this and that, because at the end of the day, your feet need to be able to walk on the ground barefoot when you're like at home or wherever the hell you want to walk barefoot. Any of the names that I butchered for like the toes and stuff and like the feet structure, please forgive me, I'm not good at it. The plantar fascius, so that little area creates dead tissues in the heel, which is a side of the heel that pretty much wraps around for the big toe. If your feet are constantly elevated, that's why you're beginning to have dead tissue in the heel, because there's nothing that's really being worked on. And it's almost like, what can I compare it to? Like, for example, let's say you broke your arm and your arm is like in a casket. If you leave your arm like that for a while, and let's say you take it off after, you know, 3 months of it being broken, like, I don't know, let's say you broke your elbow, I don't think you guys realize that your arm becomes so thin and weak and fragile because there's no movement in that arm. There was no muscle like retention in that arm. There was nothing that gained muscle or gained some type of momentum. The more that you leave those bones, those joints, those ligaments very stagnant, the more that you're doing so much more to your damage of your body. So for like the hallus, due to like shoe wear, your feet begin to tighten when if it's too tight of a shoe that kind of squishes it together. And it's kind of like almost like your toes are kind of overlapping each other. And also you're limiting your like toe extension. So you need to be able to move those toes as much as you can move your whole foot, because that helps with the ligament alignments, with obviously keeping you well balanced. Whether you ride a bike, walk, run, whatever, swim. everything has a reason to move, and if it stops, like I said, it's not really worth it at the end of the day because you're only aging yourself more. So bunions, I actually didn't know what bunions were, so I actually looked it up. So it's kind of like a bump that's on the joint of your big toe. That is a bunion, and the reason for that is like the front part of your feet or your toes, when they move out of place, they begin to create bunions because there's no longer any structure of your feet. And if they're moving, like the toe, pretty much if it's going closer to the smaller toes, it's creating a bone that's going to be sticking out. And that's when your skeleton system is becoming imbalanced. So pretty much continuation of effects of like padded and very tight shoes. Gonna be completely honest with you right now. It's challenging to find a pair of shoes or boots or even sandals that are wider at the end of your toes than the balls of your foot. Benefits of pretty much toe spreaders: pretty much improves foot health, prevents foot problems. Very simple. A lot of people would come and ask me, like, you know, how long do you do these toe spreaders for? I actually do them every day. If I do skip a day, I do keep them on a little longer the next day. But it's only about 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour because if I'm doing something, I'm sitting down reading, I lose track of time. If I'm watching TV, I lose track of time. But it definitely alleviates like the pain in your feet. If you feel like you have a lot of feet pain, and I don't want to be too graphic, but I think I gotta show you. Hold on. So if you got a lot of feet pain up in here, especially, and definitely up top, you really want to use toe spreaders because not only is it spreading your toes, but it's spreading out the nerves and like the ligaments where like your feet are aligning back into place of how it should be. Toe extension, or you could do like individual toes. Completely up to you. You're gonna grab your toes with one hand. You're gonna pull them up towards your ankle until you feel like a stretch along the bottom of your foot and in your heel core. So you're gonna be doing that about 4 to 5 times for about 4 to 10 seconds. Keep your toes flat on the ground and raise your heels until only the balls of your feet and your toes touch the ground. You're gonna hold that for 4 to 10 seconds. I would start with like 4 to 5 seconds, and then once you're used to this stuff, then you would keep going up until 10 seconds. Your second thing is point your toes so that only the ends of your big and second toes touch the ground. And you could hold that between 4 to 10 seconds. Your third one is to keep your heel off the ground and roll your toes so that the tops of your toes touch the ground. That's 4 to 10 seconds. You know, some people ask me like, when do you do like toe stretches and stuff, or feet stretches? I personally like to do mine either in the first thing in the morning after a workout or before I even do anything, or if I can't get it in the morning, I do it at the end of the day. And if you feel like these exercises are like a little bit too easy after a while, you could put like a rubber band around your toes for each foot to kind of make the exercise a little bit harder, but it also straightens like the muscles in your feet. Alrighty guys, I know this video was pretty short and simple, but I really just wanted to get this recommendation video out the way. I wanted to know if you guys like this type of video. Again, comment below if this is something you're interested in. Also comment below, like I said earlier, about your shoes. Well, technically about my shoes, like what do I recommend, what do I wear, what have I thrown out, yada yada yada. I don't know if we want to do like shoe fitting as well. But I do want to say that if you like this video, click the little thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please notify yourself that there is a little bell icon that you can tap for any more videos notifications. Take care. I love you. Peace.